I hope.
Yeah, live.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I see Peggy. Hi, Peggy. So tonight we have the lovely Dr. Lena.
Hi, guys. Oh, Marilyn's here. Kate, Terry. Hi.
So Lena's back with us. And then Johnie and Jenny, of course. Are there any special announcements from anybody? Anything upcoming this week or anything you guys would want to announce?
Lena, how did they contact you to schedule a reading with you?
Oh, they email me, and the email is under every video.
Okay. So, and Lena Rodriguez Tarot Down Under.
And if I may.
No, sorry, it isn't. No, go on. I'll just say what it is. It's lena.rodriguez.tarot@gmail.com.
lena.rodriguez.tarot@gmail.com. And if I may, past life reading with Lena. Spectacular.
Oh, really?
Get one with Lena. Get a past life reading with Lena, you guys. It's great.
And if you want to see what it's like, Lena and I did a video together. She did a past life reading, a few in one video last summer. So if you go back to, I think it was June, July of last year, she did an awesome past life. It's on my channel. Go look for it.
Mm-hmm. I got one with Lena.
Yeah, that was fun, that reading. Yeah.
That was fun.
And for readings with Jenny, you go to Jenny's website.
www.jenlintarot.com. It's all automated, and the available times will show in your time zone.
And
how high tech are you?
Readings
it got me out of email hell because I had 15 minutes.
That's right.
I'm doing readings now because I just launched it in July 1st. I'm doing readings for people that have been trying to get a reading with me for 2 years. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
And to request a reading with Johnie, that
you go to jenlintarot.com.
Well, fun times. Well, we have Lena tonight as a special guest. So is it okay if we start with some questions that have to do with Australia, since our guest is
absolutely
the land down under? First question. Will Scott Morrison remain the Prime Minister of Australia?
Oh, Scotty from marketing, I'll remind you. I'll read on it, but I'm going to lean on you three because I don't trust myself with anything to do with Australia. I don't like that card. Put it away. Not another ace. I hate that.
I love that ring.
Which one?
The blue one right there. I like them both.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty over the top, isn't it?
You know I like sparklies. So.
No. All my jewelry comes from my sister. So lucky I've got a sister who overshops, you know. Okay. Scotty. Will he be voted in again? Oh, please. God. Yeah, I wouldn't have been game to do this on my own. Really, I wouldn't.
Right now, it hangs in the balance is looking like no, but that can change with some financial pressure or financial instigation. I got the moon and the 10 of cups, so the support is not as clear as it was 2-3 years ago. And not just, things like COVID and the fires and things of that nature, but there's just a little sense of mistrust, or maybe you can't quite handle everything all at once, like they want you to, or something of that nature. But his support is sort of not clear with the 10 of cups and the moon card. The 9 of swords and the 6 of swords, there's no clear present way forward. He doesn't quite know how to transition into a secure win. As I said yesterday, one thing politicians do not like is unpredictability. They like to know. That's why they always have all these statisticians go out and say, you got a 55% chance here and a 99% chance, or you're going to get 80% of this vote and 90% of that vote. He does not have those numbers rock solid. So there's a stress about going forward. It ends in the 5 of Wands and 2 of Pentacles. So there is a conflict for balance. Right now, it's looking like no, because it's not guaranteed. Like I said, they want concrete numbers. You're going to get this, this, and this. They don't have them right now.
Thank you.
But
he's laying down on the job is what I'm getting.
In so many ways.
Yeah, he's a little bit isolated now. These cards are a little bit dark, so sorry guys. Feeling out in the cold, looking for a little charitable donation, I think. And there's something sneaky going on with them though. So I don't know. He's got a hidden agenda here, and he's a little bit of a bully. So he might be able to manipulate things with the magician here to swing things his way. But I think he's also got some regrets. He's crying over spilt milk here. And he's got a challenger that's more honest, that's honest, more honest and open. So
the problem is he's honest and boring. That can happen. That can happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it might be time for a change, but then I get the 4 of Pentacles, like he's hanging on. So it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I got more negative cards than positive.
I'll take that.
Clinging isn't enough.
When are your elections, Lena, for Prime Minister?
Well, it depends. We haven't got a date.
Huh?
So it depends. We haven't got a date. The sitting Prime Minister can elect a date. It's not like the American system. There's more flexibility.
Maybe that's how he clings a little bit. He stalls the election date.
They have a lot of discretion. Like if they're doing well and they're powering on an issue, they can call a snap election, or they can drag it out if they're not doing well.
Interesting.
Is there like a time limit?
There is. They can't go over a time limit, and they wouldn't want to go too early. So but that leaves about a year where they have discretion of where and when to hold it. Yeah, so it'll always be on a Saturday, though. We don't, to maximise people's participation, Saturdays. But I don't know when.
I get a woman that brings a loss.
Oh.
So, but he currently doesn't have a challenger, does he?
Well, funny you should say that. He does, but he's so weak. He's just not cutting through. Decent man, you know what I mean? But
I wonder.
Whereas Scotty, does come across as everybody's Mr. Nice Guy,
For marketing.
From marketing. You know what? I have to share this. Before the last election, they had to hire an empathy coach. And it cost us something like $250,000 or something to have him say, no, you've got to pretend you're interested. You've got to pretend you care. I mean, that's how bad it was.
They could have spent $1 billion on an empathy coach for Trump and it wouldn't have helped.
Well, exactly. Exactly.
So you didn't read on this one, Lena? Or
no,
you thought it out? Okay, so another one of Lena's questions. Vaccines in Australia. You want to give us a little bit of a background on that one?
Okay, so what happened when it all kicked off and vaccines were first available? Scotty sent a 12-year-old or something to negotiate with Pfizer. And when there's a queue of people, he sent a real junior representative who failed to secure a deal. Within 18 months, we had to, within 18 months, it's not acceptable, right? And then when they realized they were in big trouble, Scotty sent someone higher up and Pfizer just laughed in their face. They said, we offered it to you. just go away. You'll have to wait, right? So it was a major blowout. So we have some anti-vaxxers, of course, but as an overall percentage, young people are realising they're not going to be able to go out, to go clubbing, to get to work, to do anything if they're not vaccinated. So they are now queuing up. But they're booked up till the end of the year, into next year. And then the other thing is our vaccine, AstraZeneca, so we've got Pfizer and AstraZeneca, isn't recognised for international travel. So I've had 2 shots of AstraZeneca, but I can't travel. What's the point, right? Now, again, that's a diplomatic issue. He should be sending people out to say, this is the formula. It was the same as the UK. Can you please put Australia on your list? That's what is needed. Hasn't done it.
He's sleeping on the job.
And snoring very loudly.
Yeah.
So what was the question, Lena, for the vaccine?
Oh, okay. Will we get more vaccines from somewhere, please?
Okay.
Let's say by the end of the year.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's hope.
Put a little
Like now. Now it'd be really good.
Okay.
Get Moderna in there or somebody else also.
Yeah. Okay. More vaccines by the end of the year.
There he is again, sleeping on the job. That's it.
Lying down, doing what he does best. I get a sort of false dawn. Will I go ahead, Becca?
Yes, ma'am. She's muted, so she can't hear us.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The 5 of Swords, which is the situation we're in now, in conflict over this issue. Here's the Emperor. That'd be Scotty from marketing. Then I thought, oh, goody, the Star, but followed immediately by the Moon. So I think it's like a false dawn. Like I said, I think we'll hear that we will be getting it, but then it won't be delivered on time, or it'll be delayed, or, not clear what will happen from that point. So I think he's feeling the pressure, but is it enough? I don't know. It's crazy. And you guys have vaccines to burn, and
people won't take them.
People won't take them. Yeah.
I get possible 9 weeks with the 9 of Pentacles. It's secure, and then it's crossed by the 5 of Cups. So it's just like you said. There's a security, and then there's a pull the rug out from under. Something is delayed.
Yeah. It's like
with the Hangman and the Ace of Wands. There's some sort of action that is delayed, whether it's delivery, whether it's securing it. With the 9 of Pentacles. There's some sort of delay. There will be a breakthrough, but this is going to come next year in the heated months. So we're talking this because y'all are in spring right now. So it'll be summer for us. It'll be winter for y'all. So, or fall for y'all. So this might be 7. So this is July. So by summertime,
no, don't.
there might be a guarantee at least by summertime.
Yep, probably right.
Well, I've got change on the bottom here with the Death card. He's sleeping on the job. The challenge is for him to secure some. He can't secure, and this is the vaccines. He can't secure any because, he already missed his chance. He already walked away from it. I get. You're going to have a surge in COVID. The Queen of Pentacles is my COVID card. You're going to get a surge in COVID that's going to burden the country here. Heartbreak. Before you finally get a delivery and completion. I'm kind of feeling Christmas time. This is a Christmas wreath on it. I'm kind of feeling Christmas time that you might get, a little bit more, not enough, but a little bit more. And then, as Johnie said, going into spring, I feel like things will change. Getting into that springtime season, but I feel like you'll get a little bit more by Christmas.
Okay.
well, the vaccine showed up there with the site. I get that perhaps the supply has already been established, it's been secured, but there may be some nervousness around it. Perhaps from certain people within the population where they live that may be a little bit hesitant. But this is card number 12, so perhaps around December, and also with birds, it's closer to winter, so there may be a bump for vaccines around winter, if I'm interpreting this correctly. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of vaccines, Joe Biden has now put in vaccine mandates for employers. And I've already started hearing about the problems, so what can we expect from the vaccine mandates here in the U.S.?
Okay.
The Republicans are already having a hissy fit, but
Yep.
well, they either take a vaccine or they have to be tested every 3 days. And what's interesting is he said, and you'll have to pay for it. So he's going to quit doing the free testing. Thank you, Share Bear. Thank you, Impish Artist, and thank you, Brandon.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry, I'm on StreamYard. I can't quite. My comments are delayed.
Yeah.
I think that's
the way
smart.
forward. And business needs to demand it, so let's
a lot of them are. I think it's great that he's going to start charging them for the tests, hit them in their pocket a little bit.
I get Chariot and the Tower, so it picks up steam and then it goes away. There's an ending to this. I believe that even though the consensus of some, well, I don't know if it's consensus, but some people believe that, there should be a mandate. You need to take it, have to take it, or you can't go back to work, open shop, you can't do this, can't do that. It is a bit big brotherish for some, and so they aren't really going to like that. And I believe his administration may run into a legal issue here with the Justice card. There may be a lawsuit against the administration, that type of thing. This is going to go in some dark corner to be rediscussed here with the Hermit card. It's kind of, they have to pull it back and then push it back out with different verbiage or a different approach, but it meets the Five of Cups in the end. So there's something about this that's not quite going to work.
Ligo?
Oh, here. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, the same thing, High Priestess and the False Knight. It's like the narrative's going to be out there to sabotage this rollout. There's no doubt. But eventually, I think sanity will prevail. There is an end point to a certain wave of resistance and madness. It will end and then go through. But stop-start, and I'm sure there will be legal cases, but also there's going to be legal cases the other way too, of people suing particular state governors and stuff for not encouraging vaccination and mask wearing. So it's just going to end up in this litigious sewer, going round and round. Yeah, I agree. Someone has said he has to try. He has to try, and it is sane, and it is responsible, and it's absolutely essential. So yes, he has to try.
Yeah, I get he's rushing in with this pretty quickly, and I do feel like there'll be some legal challenges thrown at it, especially because I had the Republicans here trying to delay everything and create to this. But I get he's going to get a steady number of people moving forward with this, slow but steady, and then it's going to grow. How many people do this? And I've got my Biden card here. I get this may actually work. to slow COVID down here in America. This is my America card. So there is an end of the cycle a little bit with this. So there's still going to be some people, that aren't going to do it, but it'll make us stronger.
Yeah.
Did you go, Johnie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I get essentially there's problems for him. This causes problems for Biden. However, in the end, it all turns out very well, and people are quite pleased and sort of love what he's doing. There's something here with the marketing. So media, newspapers, that sort of thing, depending on where you're dialing into. So don't go to Fox News because your head will explode in 2 days. But overall, it's good. And with this is like a resume. So it becomes a condition of employment. And these are this is test and results. So either do it for your condition of employment or get tested every day and you're paying for it out of pocket. But overall, people are very pleased.
You know what'll happen is it'll be successful at reducing our COVID numbers, and then the Republicans will try to take responsibility for it. On everything else he's done. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Pam. That's what
during the week there was a leaked memo from Fox. Inside Fox, they have to be vaccinated or tested.
Vaccinated,
and that leaked out.
And not only vaccinated, but when they're in closed quarters, say like in the room where they're doing the sound and stuff, even if you're vaccinated, you still are required to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Fox News.
Fox News. Fox News and they're sitting in that room doing the sound and the lights and all that stuff, cutting to commercial break. Everybody's masked up and vaccinated. And the people that they're recording are telling you, don't take it, go take some.
Yeah. It's mind-bending, isn't it? It's absolutely mind-bending. We shouldn't be surprised, but and I don't know why every time Tucker Carlson or what's that Nazi woman? What's her name? Or Laura Ingraham. They should be asked outright, are you vaccinated? And you'd see by their cagey responses that obviously they are.
Somebody did ask Tucker Carlson if he had been vaccinated, and his response to that reporter was, when was the last time I asked you about how your sex was with your wife? Right. That was his reply. So
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's just
which means yes, because it's easy to say yes.
That's right.
No. It's easy to say yes and no if you have nothing else, if you have nothing to hide anyway. I should say it that way.
Yeah. So here's another question, and then we'll get off the COVID situation. This question comes from P.S. Aunt Huff, and she wanted to know, what is the underlying motivation for Republican governors and some House members and some senators that are promoting the spread of COVID? So they're pushing against the vaccine, they're pushing against all this other stuff.
What's their motivation?
Yeah, what's their underlying motivation?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Edie.
Thank you, Edie.
That's what I don't understand, period, about most things like global warming. What is the pushback for?
Yeah.
What are you getting out of this? You have no planet B, so what's the pushback?
Money, but you can't eat that, Johnie.
No.
You can't eat it.
And you can't pump your money in your veins to get rid of COVID either.
And they're all vaccinated, all the politicians are vaccinated, all the governors are vaccinated, like
all the millionaires and billionaires are vaccinated. You don't hear anything on the news about somebody famous dying from COVID.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is quite cutting, really. This. Will I go, Becca?
Yes, ma'am. She's
right. Okay. We've got the Four of Swords. The card of the line down that Jenn just had several times here. They're lying low symbolically. They're lying low. Here's the Fool card in its purest form of foolishness and stupidity. Let's not dress it up. This is not the high evolved fool. This is the fool. They are reinforcing the foolishness. They're bullish. Here's the bull of this deck, the top deck. They're playing that foolishness to the max that they can get. And the Nine of Cups, they actually just don't care about the numbers. It's like they're in this Four of Swords. They're in this short-sighted view. Just keep the voters happy this week. Just keep them happy this week. Just keep them happy this week. Go with the fantasy. And they actually don't care at all about their own people. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to be seen, they want to be seen as the moral authority too. That's true. It's all about the donors and gaslighting and covering that up, and they're all sitting secure. So what do they care? You know, like you said, nine of cups there. So they block anything that would be fair and right. And to your point again, it's just stupid. So yeah, there's also something about gifts of money that some of them are making off of COVID. So I think they do the false knight thing. They present things falsely.
Did you guys?
I have no idea what the core of the issue is.
Yeah.
The Chariot and the Eight of Cups. I'm gonna go with what Lena said, that they don't really. Because I feel like it's this. Because what this reading is giving me the impression of is they don't really care about the COVID. The COVID thing is not even like the issue. They don't care about that. It's something totally out in left field. I get the Seven of Swords, so there's some sort of little scheme with the trash panda there. There's some little scheme they're playing out.
Trash panda.
It has something to do with actual death. But it's like you can control your part of the narrative with the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. Your community will hear your message and buy your product. You can't really make tons of money right now as an investor off of AstraZeneca, out of Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. You can't make tons of money as a politician off of those unless you got some sort of under the table thing. But what you can do is maybe buy some stock in ivermectin. What you can do is maybe buy some stock in Clorox bleach and infrared lights or whatever the case may be. So there is some sort of little money scheme, money something in the background going on there that has something to do with your audience and death. But it's not a COVID. They don't care about COVID or cures or vaccines or none. They don't really. You can die of it. Hey, another person is born tomorrow. So it's, it is what it is. I just don't think they care about COVID. It's more along the lines of money and control.
Thank you, Joanne and Merritt.
Thank you, Joanne. So I get this man here. And then I get this right after him. I got the heart, the cross, the sun, and the mountain. They want this man here to absolutely fail, to give him such a huge problem that he cannot do what it is that he's desiring to do. So I'm thinking this is Biden and putting a stop and making him suffer, because this is something that he's passionate about for him to be successful, but they're making it burdensome here and they're blocking any progress and success here. So I get that it's to make him fail, Biden. Which is,
I do wonder why they're not touting the numbers.
Well, Johnie,
it's bizarre, isn't it? Really, I think when we look back in history at this time, this is one of the things that'll be the most bizarre. And then look back. A comment was from someone: DeSantis is heavily invested in Regeneron. By the way,
that's the other.
But here's the other thing with the Trump message, which is on the one hand, says go and get vaccinated, and that's the only thing they don't listen to him on. It's the only time he's got booed recently.
Remove him.
Well, he spent a
So
year.
that's kind of weird.
He has spent a year indoctrinating these people. Of course, he's gonna boo. So, and it's kind of weird too, because it's like all for the money to make Biden fail, we're willing to sacrifice your grandparents, you. Oh, and by the way, your kids too. And then we're gonna hide the numbers so that you're so welcome. P.S. and Tough. So yeah.
And thank you to More Paper, Please. Also.
Oh, can I give an update? The last time we were together, we all read that they were working on a vaccination for children. And we all got some more towards the end of the year. So I read an article today, I can't remember, I think it was Politico, that there is some tests right now that are being done for a vaccine by the end of the year for children. So that's developing now.
And that's really important. And that's going to put their feet to the fire. Do you say no, your kids can't get vaccinated?
Yes.
Or make it mandatory as one of those mandatory vaccinations for you to go to school. Nobody's had a problem with measles and chickenpox and all those other vaccines. This one specifically, it's like you would rather give your child horse dewormer and potentially kill them than take them at age to go get,
Maybe they'll invest in pony dewormer instead of horse.
Yes, the pony version.
Oh my gosh.
Baby horse.
Get the pony size.
But yeah, the pony size. So I have this question comes from the community page. So I'm going to set this one out because I just recently did a grand tableau. Paul Gosar.
If you have not seen Becca's Grand Tableaus this week, and thank you also, Miss Brazil. She did Abbott on Tuesday night, which was awesome. And then I made her revisit McCarthy's that she had pulled in May, and some more interesting stuff came out in that. And then she did Gosar, and Gosar's was incredible. So make sure you go catch those Grand Tableaus.
And I will apologize in advance. I'm still trying to teach myself the classical method. So bear with me while I'm trying to rewire my brain. But Paul Gosar, re-election. What do you guys see? And I want to say thank you to Astrid for PayPal. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that.
What state's Gosar from? Is he or Texas?
He's Arizona.
He's Arizona. Okay.
And
I get him and Gomert and all the G ones mixed up.
Yeah.
What's the story for this, Becca?
Paul Gosar, he is, I guess he used to be a dentist, and all of his siblings have taken to the media to say, don't vote for this man. And he's one of the dirty dozen or the seditious 12 that may have been involved in the planning and everything else for the insurrection. So
he's in the list of suspected. They asked for his phone records. The dirty dozen, they're calling him on Twitter.
Yeah.
So Paul goes Arizona, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
I get yes that he would be reelected. All of my cards, though, suggest that you would need a closer look at what's going on. It starts with the devil. So, as I said yesterday, the devil doesn't lie. So the devil pops up for a reason. He pops up for a reason. He's not decoration. There's something crazy going on there. And then below that is the Five of Swords. There's some abuse, because I get the Emperor too, which is a card for me of a person who is kind of drunk on power. So you have some sort of abuse of power or some manipulation of the system here with the devil and the Five of Swords and the Emperor, the Six of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. So there's your voting, and then there's his job. So there's some sort of manipulation with votes. So I'm going to say he wins because I think he cheats. But that's just me.
Thank you, Uma.
Thank you.
What'd you get, Lena? I'm going to call you Lena tonight. I can't get it out of my mouth right. Lena.
Becca does the Spanish version. Yeah.
Lena.
Okay. I'm glad you went first, Johnie, because I was puzzling about this, and I think that's exactly what it is. You know, I think he's realised women are not so enthusiastic about his campaign. That's the biggest threat to him. That's what has him worried, right? The women. So then it's like he has to reinvent himself to be the leader again. You know, instead of the new leader, he reinvents himself at the same time as whoever his opposition is, he demonizes successfully and sends them on their way. Yeah. So I'd have to think, yeah. Thank you for getting inside my brain, Johnie, and working that out.
Johnny's good at that. Yeah, there's some kind of cover-up going on here.
Yeah.
He's going to claim he won, but I think it's because he's going to challenge it in court is what I'm getting. So it's like a fight. He's burdened. It's the false knight again. He's going to falsely claim he won and take it up in the courts. And I get in the courts, like that's where his strength comes from. That's his opportunity. I get a yes, but it's in all actuality, the Republican loses. So
here's the thing. That's just what Arizona needs, a recount.
Another recount.
So can I please expand on this question, if you guys don't mind?
Sure.
And I'm going to sit this one out because I'd be very curious to see what you guys got. What will come about? He has been called he's been subpoenaed, correct, Jenny, for his records. Am I speaking correctly? Okay. So what comes about from that with him? Like, do they find any evidence that his involvement?
Is this talking about Jan 6th?
Yeah, the committee.
Yes, the January 6th committee into the subpoenas of Paul Gosar and what happens. Like, is he a person of interest? Do they find anything? Do they refer him to the DOJ? Like, I'd be curious to see what you guys.
Okay. Water Lily just commented, the Dirty Dozen are all members of the GOP Freedom Caucus.
Yep.
And Gates is also a member.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Jim Jordan, all those guys.
The Nazi caucus is what I
Really
call
Dirty Dozen.
So will anything turn up in messaging?
There is the Three of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. This is not a card necessarily of movement, but that's what I heard when I picked it up. So I clarified with the Six of Swords, the Six of Cups. There's some sort of naive group that went from one place to another that he has some information on that he may have collaborated with, or he may have had some sort of conversation with a person, very rich person of substantial money, but this is not a business, so this is a single person. They had a conversation about transporting naive people. And then there's the Ace of Cups, the Four of Pentacles. There's also a secret that is kept about involvement, a secret that is kept with the Nine of Wands about some sort of wall, or maybe wall money, but there's some sort of, maybe he was part of Bannon's little thing too. Because there's a lot of money and a lot of financial interest in a wall. I don't know, because I know they didn't pay people to climb the wall when there was at the January 6th thing. They did that of their own accord when there were steps right next to them, but that's a whole nother thing. But yes, he is going to be a person of interest. I think he always was here with the High Priestess, because there's something secret and that's probably in his conversations or whoever they were talking to. There's something secret that the justice or the courts and the legal system will find. So it's a hidden conversation or something of that nature. I don't know if it was recorded, but there is some sort of conversation that they get some sort of details about. So yes, person of interest, I do believe so.
Wow.
What'd you get, Lena?
Well, yeah. The mercenary and the fudging of everything, they might, I got that he actually did speak to Trump. And they spoke of whipping people up into a frenzy of revenge and madness. But it's a bit more complicated on a level. I think he'll be left hanging. If it is demonstrated, he'll be left to hang out to dry, I think, by the Yeti, if that is actually proven. That's what I...
Yeah, I get there's a cover up here too.
Yeah.
It's like justice is coming for him because he's involved in the bullying strength, that tried to bring an end to our election is what I'm getting. So he's trapped in the middle of this. He's going to be put in defense mode, I get. There's treason and treachery. I feel like he supported money that shifted around for this. And I end with a big yes card. He's going to end up with legal troubles. But he was a support person that helped shift money around.
So
to pay for the insurrection.
How does that work? If any evidence of his involvement or he becomes a person of interest from what the House of what the special committee finds, do they then refer them to DOJ?
Yeah.
Correct? So
Correct.
Can we ask, will he be indicted? Just to keep it just simple, will Paul Gosar, because that's how, if they refer, then the DOJ would have to indict. If there's
I think that raises another question at the same time, Becca, about any of them who are indicted. Will they comply?
Yeah.
Or not? And if they're going to be given $1,000 fine, that's not good enough.
Oh, no. Like if they get a slap on the wrist for this, forget it. Forget it. So should we ask about Paul Gosar or the entire Dirty Dozen if they would be indicted? And
I think the Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Dozen? Okay. I'm going to
my first card is a group. There is a group of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty. Oh, three of cups.
It's a group of them. And right next to that is the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Cups. So this is my confirmation that this is my yes card. Now, there's also, I think that they are good with the stalling thing because they're members or whatever. And so it's a little harder to nail them down because you have other politicians at work too with, I don't want to indict or accuse my fellow workers and blah, blah, blah. Like the Trump thing. I don't want to indict a sitting president, whatever. But there is some moving forward and moving on. Somebody may resign or move on or not seek re-election or something of that nature. It is a slow process, so this is not something that will be done tomorrow. But there is some new horizons that someone will reach for, or there is some progress that is made upon indicting a group of people. But yes, I get there is a group.
Grab your popcorn, y'all. It's going to be good.
Somebody.
What did you get, Dr. Lena, if I may?
Oh, me. I was just, sorry, I haven't even pulled cards. I was just absolutely fascinated.
Oh, okay. I didn't pull cards either.
That might be a cue for another coffee.
I'm over here drinking water.
I've got to manually get the brain cranked up. I'll adjourn. I won't be a moment.
I get the treasonous bullies. Yes, they get an indictment. They're all going to court. Big yes card on that. It moves forward to Johnny's point. I think it will move very, very slowly. It's like they try to lay low, but yeah, they're going to court. I'm getting, something material, an indictment. They were inside men. They had connections with Trump, worked with Trump. And this is going to be a big crash. And I have an abundance. So to me, like it's more than one abundance. It's multiples.
Does it say why they're getting in trouble? Is it something to do with their involvement in January 6th? Or is it like everybody else, there's some sort of financial problem?
Thank you, Leah. Let's see. Why will they be indicted?
I'm going to sit this one out because I've been trying to do the grand tableaus on these people. So there's 12 of them. I still have a few more to go. I'll apologize in advance, but good time to practice and study the classical method. So. Well, what's so funny, Johnny?
It's always money, but this just I don't know, it spoke to me a little stronger than most Seven of Pentacles do because of the roots. So it's like it feels deep rooted, like this is a organization type thing, like it's a one of those type of deals. I think it's general involvement, and it does have to do with money and behind the scenes and behind the scheme type thing. Seven of Pentacles and the World is the second card. This is a bigger thing than just even them 12. It's a bigger thing.
Whoa.
Four Swords, Eight of Cups. There are some people who can't get away. Like you can't escape it. It's not escapable because you're too deep into it. Again, with that roots, you're too deep into it and it's not going away. You can't escape it. 10 of Pentacles, it is a big thing. 5 of Cups, you will regret it because they always do.
Yep.
But again, for expectation settings, this is not quick. 2 of Wands, we haven't got off the ground yet. So this is not tomorrow. This is not even next year. So just calm yourself.
Thank you, Carmela. There's death involved here, so that's one of the reasons. Normally the death card is change for me, but it's also death. There's deaths involved. They help pay for the inside men and the peanut butter boys, as we call them. So it's an abuse of power, and justice is coming for them. There's a lot of money involved. They had lost the election, but they worked as the emissaries for the king. Treason, treachery, treason, and the law, and a big yes card. So I think the biggest issue is abuse of power and the money. They're going to track the money down.
Yeah, and that might bring them down more than when they're looking at these exchanges. I think they're going to stumble on all this dirty money that they routinely move between themselves,
Because the reason I asked is since, they never want to indict politicians for anything other than affairs and things of that stupid nature. But it seems like with money, there is a paper trail. There's something a little more devious about it. With this in particular thing, even though it's, to me, one of like the biggest crimes they can commit, sedition is hard to convict on, which is why none of the rioters are being charged with sedition. They're being charged with unlawful trespass. Because it's something easy, they can push them in, push them out. Sedition is a whole different thing. So the DOJ is not going for the stronger sentences. So it seems like even if they were to pull these people and single them out, put them in court, what would be the charge? Jaywalking, or would they be charged with some sort of sedition charge too? And so that's kind of why I was wondering, why would they be in trouble? So, money's always money with these people. I can't.
It always is. It always is. Like,
So there's a comment by Sloop Jill here from Glenn Kirshner. Today we all know Glenn from Justice Matters. Okay. And saying there's more guilty pleas, and the FBI and DOJ are upping the ante to seditious conspiracy. So the more low-level admissions gives them more ammunition for this.
Good.
I'm freezing. Oh.
How can I change this? Okay, one last dirty dozen seditious conspirator, and we'll get off the topic. Marjorie Taylor Gangrene is being investigated. That's what one of our viewers calls her. J-Lo calls her Gangrene. So she's being investigated by the FEC for $3.5 million small donor donations, because they're claiming that it came from small donors. Where did her donations come from, Marjorie Taylor Gangrene?
$3 million.
Now there's a mystery.
$3.5 million supposedly from small donor individual contributions.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's a regular Bernie Sanders all of a sudden.
Yeah, she's
Okay, where'd your money come from?
MTG.
I have a deck with no court cards in it, so I want to see
Yeah.
how it comes up here.
I'm gonna leave this alone. They both wanted to jump out, so they jumped out. Oh, and I wanted to say thank you to Sunflower. I'm using the new deck you sent me. Look at that, all nice and fresh.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, the other ones I was using were just like all the gilded edging was gone. They had creases in them. They were falling apart. I'm like,
We're kind of rough on cards.
I know.
Okay, MTG's small donor claim.
Where does it come from? Small donors, huh?
Yeah.
So this is strange. So I can say that it might look like small donors, but it is not small donors. It's kind of like
I got that.
if you get 100 Koch brothers and they all give you $10, and then you get 100 Microsoft brothers and they all give you $100. It's not okay. You can call it small donations, but they're not from small people.
No.
So okay, but no, it's not Enron giving tons of money. It looks like individual people, but these are not mom and pops. No, by no stretch of the imagination. This is that's what I get.
Yeah. Will I go?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Look, it echoes Johnie here so wonderfully. Like the moon and the illusion and the veil literally hanging over the money. So the money is designed to look like Two of Cups, just good friends of Marjorie Taylor Greene, when in fact, this is the Toth deck, when in fact it's coming from a big moneyed source. And this is how they maneuver it. Like, this is how I'm seeing this symbol now. We'll just move that money around here and over there and back here, and you end up with a closed circuit with the money in it. my question to in my head after that was, will she be sprung for it? And all the swords pointing in towards the cross. So I think it's like these mad right-wing Christians will do anything, because I think they all know she's as mad as a cut snake. They actually would not, under normal circumstances, even put her up as a candidate. But the cross in the middle is, they're doing it for Jesus, right? Meaning whatever that means, this theocracy they seem determined to want to give birth to in America, So this Christian Taliban thing going on, I think, is supporting her a great deal.
Yeah, I get the towers on her now. It's like she's trying to block an investigation and keep it secret here. But it's either coming from churches or big corporations coming into her. She's very quickly going to end up with legal problems over this and all this big money that she's got. So justice is coming. And justice matters, as Glenn Kirshner says.
So I get news here of the investigation to probe, and then I get this. It's not from small donors. It's from private enterprise, and also quite possibly enterprise that is foreign as well. So also from this spread, I would not be surprised if her immediate family or her properties come under investigation, and then they become a target. There's something very sneaky and suspicious here that they're able to extract and uncover. And it's private enterprise, something that may be coming from overseas, but also perhaps how her own family or something to do with her properties may be profiting from this venture, if that makes any sense. So
interesting.
Gobert is getting in trouble. Well, not in trouble, but she is getting a lot of attention for the exact same thing.
Who?
Bobert, the other crazy.
Oh, good.
Oh, the one from
Couldn't happen
Colorado.
to a better person.
Wait, Robin.
Wait, Bober is the one from Colorado, correct?
With the restaurant called Shooters or something crazy like that, where you walk around with the gun.
Now I just thought of something. Marjorie Taylor Greene there was some news a while ago. I don't remember if it was like a month or two ago about something that she did on her taxes because she claimed her properties as homestead. I don't even know what that is, but something about a homestead property, and they were doing it for enterprise. So they made money.
Yeah, that would be right.
They're only allowed to do homestead exemption on one property, and she did it on multiple.
What exactly is a homestead? Like a farm?
That's your business you run out of, I think, or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it would mean you'd be tax exempt or get a very big tax thing because you're running a farm,
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised, based on the cards that I got, if it's enterprise, private enterprise, but also perhaps her own properties, her family, because the house was there. I don't even know how that would all tie in, but okay. So here's a question to change the tune. Will the United States become united? Will we get united again?
Do we have a time frame, like 100 years?
By the way, even though I don't like George Bush's politics, I had to love his speech yesterday at Shanksville, where he called them out like the terrorists within are just like the ones overseas.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. It needed to be heard.
And meanwhile, the Yeti went off to commentate a boxing match.
If I may, just to give everybody a laugh here. This was going to be our funny question for tonight, but I changed it. So I saw it on Twitter that Donald Trump was the commentator on the Holyfield and Belfort boxing match.
Yes.
But his commentary only lasted 85 seconds.
Of course, because he can't string a sentence together.
to which Stormy Daniels replied, "That's about right." So,
oh, that is gold. That's gold. I love that.
Okay, I've completely forgotten the question. What's the question?
Yeah, sorry. Where were we?
Will America ever unite?
Oh, and it's such an important question. You know, like I better move to normal cards. So.
I have. Okay. Never mind. Someone else go first.
I haven't drawn yet. You go, Jenny.
Yeah. Sorry, Johnny. We're going to throw you in it.
Well, I tend to be long-winded with such things, so here's. I'll try to shorten it here. That's not a good Gemini trait. I don't know how to shorten speeches. I ain't even started yet, and I'm still talking too much. So I have the star. That's hope for the future. The devil right next to it. The 3 of Wands. The Emperor, and then the 8 of Swords. America's united. I always say this, but this is a personal philosophy, not in the cards, that the world is always getting better, but people always think it's getting worse. And people look at things and think that they're in the worst shape that they've ever been, where we all hate each other, and this person's got COVID, and this person won't mask up, and this person hates this person's a racist, this person's a sexist, this person's a whatever. We can always point out those things because that's easy to do. Meanwhile, at the same time, you take a look at the news and you look at Afghanistan, and people are literally throwing their babies over the fence so they can bring them back here in other places. So maybe it's not the worst place in the world. Maybe us as United States citizens, maybe every now and then can quit crapping on your own country and realize you don't have it that bad. Especially if you're watching this, which means you're probably under a roof somewhere, or at the very least, you got some electronic device that people would probably kill to have. So it's not that bad. We will always have the good and the bad, the up and the down. The opposite of hate, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. So there will always be something that we need to battle. There will always be a hurdle. Everywhere you find people, you will find a devil. But everywhere you find people, you will find an angel. So it will always be this way. It has always been getting better. Here I sit in African Americas, here in the United States, that has not been the kindest to my people. And yet I sit here and I'm all right. So the world is still a good place. And it is still, maybe not the entire world, but the United States is still a good place. And I would reckon that probably where you are from, it is too.
Thank you, Kathy D and Cha-Cha.
We will unite. The 8 of Swords. We're in this together whether you want to be or not. If something comes from deep space and lands down here, it's got 3 heads and 9 arms, we will definitely be in it together. Now, mind you, there will be one person to tell the alien where all the humans are so they can kill us. But there will still be a lot more united than not. There you go.
Thank you, Johnny. That was great. Thank you. Bravo.
That was the short version.
Take me to church, Johnny. Take me to church. What do you got?
I talk too much, Jesus Christ.
Jen, what have you got?
Well, I've got, we've got anxiety, but I've got Biden and Kamala both here, helping to bring us together and clinging to us, that sense of nostalgia, offering up the loving cup. And then I've got Trump here facing justice and going to court and quid pro quo and obstruction of justice and money laundering. And it's a new start for America. The thief is going to get caught and everybody's going to be talking about it. He's trapped. And that'll help unite us.
Yeah. Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At the moment, there's, this desire for punishment, revenge, getting even. There's sort of all these things that are not good for any country and are very childlike. And I've said this before on my own channel, America's got to realize it is a young country. And this is a time for America to mature out of this intolerant rubbish of going in. Either it tips over into a medieval church state or it grows up. That it's at a watershed. And of course, laboring under the influence. And I think this means the devil, not just in terms of this person's ideology or that person's. It's the whole damn mess of non-thinking that's gone on. It's the greed, that's so out of balance. Radically, the country is out of balance, right? And so it is the most unequal country in the world. Now, there's a claim to fame. And until that's addressed, I don't think the country can move to safer waters. But if it is addressed, if people start thinking about who's got the money, who doesn't have the money, where is that not just unlucky, it's unjust and doesn't make for a civilized society. So for me, it's all about understanding money, what it means, what it can do for you, what it can't do for you, and who's getting it and who isn't. So if the playing field gets leveled with this new generation, hopefully spawned by Biden's fundamental kindness, if people can understand that and fight for an equality of resources, pentacles are about money, but also resources, assets, values, then it can mature and shine and be better tan it is now.
I can say one more thing. The devil card in the traditional depiction of the devil card has two people on it that are chained to the devil. They have the thing around their neck. But if you look closely at the card, you will see the chain is very loose. If you understood what binds you, you can easily take it off. Exactly. They are not chained to the devil. They are there with the devil because they think this is where their sustenance is coming from.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And choice and free will.
Yes, you have the choice. Move on. Leave him back.
And I think that's the essence of it in a way. You have to work out who's shafting you, right? That's the fundamentals. So it's not the Mexican laborer. It's Reagan sending your industry offshore and everyone else. So unless you work out who is doing the shafting, you can't take the chains off. If you have that realization, you can take them off and go, why are the red states the poorest states? Why, after 20 years of Mitch McConnell, are schools shut 3 days a week because they can't afford to open? Asking the real questions.
Yeah, why can we not pay a living wage? And why can we not, bring people into the 21st century, where they understand we can't just keep putting people down over and over and over. Give them an opportunity.
Yeah, but it's kind of like what Lena's saying, but about figuring out who's shafting you. But the genius of the Republican Party,
yes,
they
exactly,
have indoctrinated their constituents to blame other people while it's the rich white men in suits that are shafting you. And then they turn around and hate those of us who are in very liberal states without realizing they want to use the very derogatory, Republican Ronald Reagan word of welfare queens. Look around your state, because all of you all are on welfare and you're taking all the money from us in the blue states. So they hate the liberals, but they gladly take their money to provide services, because those that they keep voting in keep cutting those services. It's like they've been indoctrinated to vote against their own interest. It's
exactly.
And
brilliantly,
we'll vote Republican.
It's worked for 40 years. Yeah.
I get a yes. I don't know when it'll happen. But maybe like what Lena said, when they take out the blindfolds and realize, it's not the black people, it's not the Mexicans, it's not the Chinese or the Japanese or the brown people or purple people, it's the white guy in Washington that's been robbing me blind my whole life.
Hello.
Then it's funny because I had watched this this camera person. It was on YouTube. It was a regular person with a camera interviewing Republicans about Medicare for all. And I don't want that because I'm not going to sit there and wait 6 months to get my broken arm fixed and blah, blah, blah. Then they go on to ask them how much they're paying for insurance, which, mind you, here in America, we get the luxury of having our health care tied to our employment.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah, I can't get my head around it.
Most employers are starting to offset those costs to the employees, so they pay less. You want better health care, you pay more out of your own pocket. Well, when the camera person confronted that individual about how much they're paying in Australia, in the European countries like Britain where they have the national health care, they're like, oh, well, I still want my private insurance.
That's right.
But you're paying $1,000 a month. You're paying $1,000 a month, and then you still have to pay for your premiums, and then you still have to pay your copay, and then you still have to pay your deductibles. So you're paying 6 to 7 times more than a regular person, but you would rather do that because your freedom. This is how indoctrinated they are. They can't.
Absolutely. Like in Australia, it's different from the Canadian model. We have full public health care, cradle to grave if you want it. Or you can take out private insurance if you want, right?
Yeah.
But that costs about 1,500 Australian, which is about 1,200 US a year. For private insurance, I'm just saying, and that gets you your own room and your own things. I've never had it, but so you get the same doctors, surgeons, everything. If there's an accident, it's acute, you're all treated the same. So the advantage for those who want to privately insure is you get money off your dental and your optical, and you get your own room in the hospital and non-elective surgery. So a knee replacement or something, you might be uncomfortable and in pain. In the public system, you'd have to wait for that. Anything urgent, no, but for that, yes. And if you're privately insured, no. And then you pay a bit on top of that, towards a scan or an anything. I don't understand why you'd be privately insured in Australia, but 45% or something are. So it gives that appeal. It also undermines that argument of quality and all of that stuff.
The
studies, sorry, just because this is my hobby horse being a health sociologist, but when the studies came out with Bernie, they did left-wing studies of universal healthcare, they did right-wing studies to try and prove how wrong it would be, they did independent studies, and they all concluded the same thing. It would cost less than the system you've got. So you pay the most for the cruelest, most deficient and inadequate, scandalous banana republic healthcare on the planet. It costs you more.
But hey, our freedoms.
And God forbid they provide free birth control as opposed to trying to control abortions,
Yeah.
They want to bring down the abortion number, then provide free birth control.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't.
But
someone here waited 5 years for a hip replacement because they were waiting for healthcare. I mean, nowhere else in the world understands why Americans put up with it. And yet again, it's the opposite. It's having to fight people to give them care.
The number one cause of bankruptcy in the U.S. is health bills. You have a catastrophic event, you have to go to the hospital, have surgery, and next thing you know, you're filing bankruptcy. It's the number one cause.
I know here, if you have premature twins who have to be in hospital for 4 months and have operations, it doesn't cost you a cent.
Not here in the U.S. You'll sell off your firstborn to pay off that bill.
Mm-hmm. The NICU per day is thousands of dollars.
Yep.
Michael Moore.
Pardon?
Bless him. He's done his best to try and point this out to people. And you think poor people at least would be listening, but they'll fight you just as much as, a wealthy one.
Yep. You'd be amazed. They've been indoctrinated to go against their own interests without even thinking about it. No question.
It's just a reflex. They're nursing their dying babies, but they don't want free healthcare. No, no, no.
Freedom. So here's another question. This one was very interesting. The deputy attorney, the previous deputy attorney, Lisa Monaco, what was her reaction to reading the full unredacted Mueller report?
Oh, okay. Who are we talking about?
Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco under Merrick Garland here. So she's in the Department of Justice. At one time, she worked for Mueller.
Yeah.
So what was her reaction to when he was head of the FBI? She worked under him. So what was her reaction to reading the full unredacted Mueller report? Because she had to get her hands on it once she joined Merrick Garland's team. I like that question.
That's right, Sharon. GOP are pro-birth, not pro-life. That's right. Okay, what was her reaction to the unredacted?
I got my card of treason on the bottom.
There's some very strong information by the strength card here in the Eight of Pentacles. They did a lot, uncovered a lot. Yes, they were looking for Russian collusion, but I'm pretty sure they found everything but Hoffa in this information. So they got a lot. Now, her reaction, though, is what do you do with it? Five of Swords, Two of Pentacles, Two of Cups. Who do you give it to? How do you give it to them? How do you move forward on any of this information? Can you build cases? You know, the strategic mind. So that's where she's going, is what do you do with it all? There's a lot here for her, though.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's the main thing. That's her main reaction, as I got it, was what to do with it. You know, here I've got, the King of Swords, which in this case I take to be Mueller himself, looking at the deals made between people and his, probably we'd call them recommendations in the unredacted report, the legal recommendations to deal with these people. But here it comes to her. She, as the Queen of Cups, was emotionally affected, I think, by reading it and the implications of it, and wanted to charge forth. But to a certain extent, they're afraid of the GOP, which is a bit sad. I hope I'm not right about that, but that's my vibe. They were so terrified of what the reaction would be.
I've got heartbreak, and that's my treason card on the bottom. When she got in her new job, she saw everything that they'd covered up about working together on dark money for a long time. All the treachery that was involved, shifting money around, I think, is something that she wants to look at. The changes with Putin, with Trump and Putin, I get it's an inspiration for structuring something else within the legal system to bring some more charges. So I think after a period of absorbing all this information, they're going to charge in with some more investigations.
Oh, good.
So I feel like she's still like trying to absorb everything.
Sorry, can I just jump in? Someone just said, it was a really good comment. Basically, they don't think they can get a jury without at least one Trump supporter, meaning it'd be a hung jury.
Interesting. I get that she got access to something here that had been highly contested. What she thinks here with the birds, she got very emotionally passionate, probably very pissed, and perhaps something to do with a significant interview, somebody that they interviewed, somebody that they talked to, quite possibly around a meeting. I think that's what triggered her. that she got very emotional about. So I don't
You
know.
mean that nothing burger?
Yeah, that nothing.
Yeah, that nothing burger. That's what we're talking about.
I don't know. This would be since this is a pair. I don't know if that would be Jared Kushner and John Jr., but there was someone that was interviewed in that report that really pissed her off. So I don't know. So, okay, let's see. Heritage Foundation.
Ah,
That lovely group of people. Will they continue to wield considerable political power?
That's so bad. Oh, here's a comment too. I visited 8 European countries in 1984. When I came back, I decided to never have children in the USA. European women have it so much better, and so do their families. They seem happier too. Okay, so Heritage Foundation. Oh, all these names: Liberty, Freedom, Caucus, Heritage.
Cold word racist.
Yeah, exactly. Are we talking about the Heritage Foundation or organizations like them?
It was, well, I guess the way it was phrased is, will they continue? I would say organizations like them, but
Yeah.
will they continue to have political power? I get yes with the Ace of Pentacles. Even if you change the name, it's still the same group of people. The people, it's kind of like the little documentary. I haven't seen it. I don't really care for that type of stuff. But the family, the Heritage Foundation, the Tea Party, the Freedom Caucus, the MAGAs, all them people, they just changed their name over the years. They still have the same philosophy. So the philosophy is more in control. With the Five of Wands and the Emperor, it's irrational. I mean, to be judgy, it's irrational thinking. You know, let's stop the steal. Let's stop the immigration. Let's stop the voters. Let's stop everything that we don't like or that we're convinced we don't like. But yes, it will just change shape, but it will be the same thing. So yeah, the political power will stay.
Yep.
I get the same thing. Like, it may shift around, but it's still going to be like, they're very secure. They're very strong. They educate the up and comings about how they work. You know, Sun card, they know how to manipulate things very successfully. Very slow changes with them. We're stuck with them. They're powerful. What I do get though is that they're going to lose some thieves that are members through our court systems here, because so some of their members may end up in jail, but they're too connected to the wealthy.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, they're married to the devil. So you couldn't make it up, could you really? But after what Johnie was saying, which is absolutely right about the devil card here, which is the people being chained to the devil. This bloody thing. This is them actually deciding to be in bed with the devil routinely. I don't think they can even see the woods for the trees. You know, I think they believe it to a certain extent. They're not just, you know, blindly manipulating. That's why I think the devil had two inferences there. They actually believe it. They believe vengeance is theirs, you know, justice is theirs. That they own and represent everything. You know, they're convinced of that. But that's going to become a bit of a burden to them as it moves forward. And I would think, I just heard youth as I was picking up this card, and I thought, we've got to just outweight this generation of this thinking, you know, and let's just hope they stop voting because of the steal or whatever. But this is that long-term grind. It's not going to inspire a new generation. In other words, I don't think that they're going to be replaced in a hurry, but they will if the youth stay engaged and vote into the future.
I get a no. The only way to get them out is to rupture their financial links, and that's how you rupture their power and how they're linked. But no, it's like they're clinging to power, and they have deep pockets here with their finances, and it just loops around and loops around and loops around. It just happens over and over and over again. So perhaps to what Johnie and Jenny were saying, as well as why not you bust one and then it just comes up as something else.
Yeah, yeah.
That they cling to power because of their finances here. So good luck.
Do a bear had deep pockets.
Yeah. So here's another one. I'll try to make this quick. The September 18th rally, which is in about 6 days. Yeah. What can we expect at that rally?
I wonder what the weather is like that day. I'm getting a weather thing, either that or a air quality thing. Something raining, something's in the air, rain or something like that. But it's not like tear gas or nothing. But anyhow, so I get 2 of Swords in the Empress, 3 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles, and the World card. It will be a spectacle. It will be disappointing to those who are more patriotic. I was down the street at this little, okay, I don't mean to sound judgmental, but you know how you go in some places and they have a Republican vibe to it because it's a bunch of old white people sitting there and they're eating breakfast or something like that. But they all look, and then they got flags on the car. So the whole establishment gives you a Republican vibe. So that's what this place is. But you go in there and it's full of people looking at the news saying how disappointed and ashamed they are to be an American looking at the January 6th garbage. And that's going to be a repeat. So it's not going to be violent. I don't get a violent card here or anything like that, but it is going to look ridiculous because here with people who have pride in their country will still feel heartbroken. Not just Democrats, but their fellow red state people. But there is a little bit of blockage. So there's something is tempered down. This is not like the last time where the Supreme Court justice wife bust a bunch of people in. So this is like those who got there on their own are there, and then the rest, I guess, had to work the next day. But there's no violence, I don't see, but only vote by cards. The devil will be there, though.
I got him too.
He follows his children.
What'd you get, Lena?
Oh, okay. Mine starts out with a bang. Symbolically, they're going forward with their message, stop the Silgum, and the Tower, like straight off the bat. It's not going to be like they think it's going to be, because there's talk they're going to be in many cities, right, rather than just Washington. So I think it's going to dilute, but I think it's actually going to be the end of that sort of mini movement, because in comes 2 major arcanas here with the Empress looking after people, the moon in another, although usually, unclear and foggy and all of that, there's a mental health thing going on with so many of these 2, which we could talk about just on its own for 2 hours. What does that mean? But my vibe here is the mental health issues, and that Biden's steadying influence will come to pass. It'll actually calm things down. So that's how I see it. Yeah. What about you?
Thank you, Gina. I get the world will kind of be watching that day. It's kind of interesting. There's manipulations. The challenge will be security. Excuse me. I get Republicans are behind raising funds for these abundance of people. It'll be very disruptive, is what I get. But I don't have I don't have a fighting card. I don't have like 5 of wands, like there's fighting or something aggressive. But there's going to be money news that comes out of this. So I feel like investigators are going to start looking into this more. The transportation again, like how'd all these people get here? The devil trying to show strength here, and more investigations, asking more questions. So I think it's going to probably end up with people looking into the money more.
I pulled a double line of 5, so I'm sorry I can't bring it all up. But I'm seeing paperwork that's being delivered to a very persistent, passionate woman. So I'm wondering if Liz Cheney or somebody else on the committee is anticipating paperwork on that day. I see problems there, not violence though. It's like there's security here that is immovable. They can't get around this thing. It's like a fortress. It's a wall of some sort. But I also see perhaps on that day, the disruption may not be violence or anything else. It could just be something as simple as bad weather. Or maybe a storm or something like that. There's bad weather. And also perhaps some people may become very uncertain about whether they want to make that trip and travel expenses. Also because if they are not vaccinated and they don't have the results, perhaps they may not be able to travel because they could be a carrier and spreading this stuff here unless you drive. Okay. So I don't see violence. I see the building itself being kind of blocked off, maybe bad weather and perhaps uncertainty around people. It shows many here, but I don't get gardens. So I don't think this thing might be as huge as we're thinking it's going to be. But I could be wrong.
Let's pray for rain or a thunderstorm, see how many are afraid of God striking them with lightning.
Because I mean, this could be just something as simple as really bad weather, so.
That's interesting. One of the comments here says Satan's children may want to take their raincoats.
So Lena, can we ask your question now? And you can give us a little bit of history on it. The one about Robert Kennedy.
Oh, yes. I had a viewer ask me about this, and I'd be interested in what you all find too. Okay, so scouring the memory banks, Robert Kennedy, there were mutterings at the time that he was involved in Marilyn Monroe's premature demise. Did he poison her? Was it an injection? Was it this and that? So that's sort of part one. But the second part is that old saying since Nixon, the cover-up's worse than, the event. And so there was an investigative woman journalist who was very onto it at the time, and then she mysteriously died.
Oh.
So it's a two-parter. Was Robert Kennedy in any way involved with Marilyn's death or not? And was he involved in the cover-up and the death of the journalist or not?
Okay.
Thank you, Asia.
Okay. Now, just while we're shuffling, I'm running a competition on my channel at the moment until tomorrow. And it's an opportunity for anyone to have a vent. And so the competition is, what would you really like to say? Particularly if you're a blue dot in a red sea and you have to bite your tongue most of the time and just keep a low profile and not talk to these people. So the competition is
zombies.
Really like to say, if you didn't have to worry about repercussions or dealing with those people the next day, What is your fantasy response to them all? So I'll throw that out there.
And
Go watch the
if you
video.
haven't seen Lena's video on trying to talk to zombies, it's a brilliant read.
Oh, okay. Yeah, arguing with zombies.
Arguing with zombies. That was brilliant.
Okay, so we're doing Robert Kennedy. That's a weird family, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I had my stuff muted and I totally missed what Johnie was saying.
Nothing.
Robert Kennedy, Marilyn, and the journalist. Marilyn.
Well, I get he had knowledge of what happened to her, and knowledge of a cover-up. That some force was used, but I don't get he was personally involved, if that makes sense. Like he didn't. Thank you, Joanne. He didn't give the direction to do something. It's what I'm getting, but he had knowledge of it. That's with Marilyn. Now let me look at the journalist.
Yeah, I'm doing them separately too.
With Marilyn, Lena, I'm getting that he had very deeply rooted knowledge here with the book, knowledge of something that was causing a problem. Also here with Tree, this is health. So he may have had knowledge that there was something health related with Marilyn, and Mountain here is the head. So perhaps he had knowledge of some mental health, and this is also depression too. But he knew about it. He knew perhaps about her health conditions and perhaps her motivation. Okay, I said that wrong. Not that he knew she was gonna do it, I don't think. But in hindsight, perhaps have an understanding of why she did what she did. But I don't get that he was involved in like, hey, Tony, take care of this problem sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, right.
So, did you go, Johnie, Lena?
I
Johnny?
get for Marilyn that there was a conversation had of an abusive man, or with an abusive man here, with the Eight of Wands and the Emperor and the Five of Swords. There is something he stayed away from, though, with the Eight of Cups. So he stayed in the background, so he wasn't directly involved, I don't believe. But here with the Ace of Wands, that is my card for force. So he does have some knowledge of, and he did have a conversation with an abusive man. I didn't pull enough cards to see if there was some sort of payment or anything like that exchanged, but that is what presents there for the reporter. I don't get he has a direct involvement. I get that there is a bit of a coalition that did this. This was like a Khashoggi type thing, to where there was higher people that she was being a little too nosy about, and that's what happened with that. Because there is a very strong scheme with that too, with the Strength and the Seven of Swords. So there is something around plotting, but it was by some higher ups type of thing.
Yeah, I get there was a network also that was trying to secure all the details that she had. So there was a show of force around her, but I get he's out in the cold on that. Like he wasn't aware of it with the reporter.
Well, it's interesting. We're all coming up with a very similar thing here. For Marilyn, he knew she was depressed and withdrawn. I think he was a bit concerned, and I think I'd go as far as to say, talking with people and go, what are we going to do? We have to do something. We have to do. But I don't think he meant, kill her or anything. I think within the idea of the wealthy people like the Kennedys, I think it was his idea was, I think, to put her in hospital or a mental facility or something, because I think he kind of liked her, actually. I don't think he wanted her dead, but, just let's take this problem away. And to end her influence, even though it's a death card, we're talking about a death, I still don't think it's literally it. He wanted to put the issue to bed of what damage she could do. With the journo, slightly murky. I'd come down on this, like, this is, to me, affluent people to get, and they're planning, with the Three of Wands. How are they going to protect themselves against what this woman is capable of doing? The Wheel of Fortune. What did they decide? The Ace of Swords. I would say, was it Johnie who said at first, I think the group, I don't think for 1 minute it was Kennedy's fingers on it, but they were really, really worried, and I think they sort of let things take its course. I think he let someone else in the group make the final decision, shall we say.
Thank you, Jody and Joanne.
For the reporter, I got Letter, Storks, and Fox. So here's the report right here with you. And it mirrors here to Fox. So here we're seeing the investigative reporter. Was he involved in her death? No. There may have been something involved around her death that perhaps is mysterious or requires further investigation. Here with Fox, it's not what it appears to be. But was he involved in her death? No, because this is something that may have to do with the report or what she was working on. Here with Fox is also work. She may have been working on something different and not so much reporting on the death of Marilyn as much as reporting on something different here, because this is work. So there's a change of work here. So I don't know if she was working on reporting something about their affair or their interest towards each other, but was he involved with her, like, to whack her? No, it's there's something else going on there with that. That's what I get. I could be wrong. So did everybody go? I didn't interrupt. Okay, so here's a fun one that's non-political. I guess for all the astrologers out there, the U.S. will be undergoing its Pluto return in February 2021. Yes, ma'am. Did you need to say something, Lena?
No. I think, we've got to all keep our eye on this Pluto return, because it's huge.
So what can we expect in the United States for our Pluto return?
I have no idea even what that means.
Okay, let me explain as a non-astrologer. Okay. Pluto is a small, very dense planet that's very slow moving. And so that's why it's not like, if you look at your birth chart, normally the planets are there, whereas whole generations have Pluto in the same place, etc. It takes 247 years or whatever to do a full cycle. So that's why it's important. And Pluto digs out the dirt. Pluto is very happy with the underworld and going, I don't think you've been looking at this for 240 years. And you know what? Have a look. Because this is why you're not moving forward, because you haven't dealt with this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so, countries, it's huge, because if you look back, it's fascinating to see, when France had its revolution and when the previous one and all that. It's like it takes that long for everyone to throw it all in the air again and go, we have to deal with it this time.
Yeah, I mean, at the last time we were fighting for our independence from the Britain, and if there was a revolution going on. So thank you, Marby.
Yeah, Pluto has
Pluto return. It's about everything that's not dealt with. Pluto will go gouge it out and put it in front of your face.
Yeah, he's got a little quirk for making us look at the nasty shit we don't want to look at. Like, hey, did you look at
all the stuff you don't want to look at? And I think Hogarth describes it as Pluto just comes in and puts a dead rat on your bed.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Time to have a look. So, let's see.
We're lucky as humans that we never experience a Pluto return in our charts because
that's right. That's right. And lots of Americans would never have experienced one, right? From back in the day till now. But because it's slow, it doesn't mean overnight, everyone wakes up and it's the age of Aquarius. It's sort of, it digs deep, Oh, GM Dave, that's the point. This is what LSD would do for them. Open their eyes so wide. Yes. Oh, we have a troll, Spanky145. Biden is a dictator. Can we get rid of the troll, please, someone?
They got it.
Good.
Thank you for patronizing, Spanky. You help our views, and thank you if you gave a thumbs down.
They just want to be a part.
Yeah. Now this is epic.
Let's pull out some major arcana. Interesting. I have my COVID card on the bottom that this may be kind of tied into this. The
yeah. This is.
I'm getting a very, thank you, Valerie. I'm getting a very, we're no longer the yippee-ki-yay cowboys bullying around, bull in a china shop trying to have dominion over everything. It's time to look at everything differently. Change is coming to America. So there's an image that we have that needs to end, and we need to start looking at everything more closely. Our legal systems, our strength in the world. It's time to restructure everything and go within and learn that wisdom that we have the ability to take a look at, see what we've learned in all this time. But there's the devil, there's obstacles, there's ego, there's everything that we're chained to. It's time to question, like, are we going to be the country known for holding up the businessman, or are we going to be like the open and honest queen that's approachable and fair and more nurturing?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting more the questions we're going to be looking at. I'm not getting what's it.
That's because it's such a gigantic issue, really. It's like saying, let's read on the future of America, full stop. It's just so huge.
But and it happens over just hitting our chart. It probably stays there for 10 or 15 years in that one place.
Yeah, I think 12 years or something, some long period of time. Interesting.
Did you go, Lena?
Yeah, I'll sort of cut to the chase because this is my card du jour for America about inequality financially and people being ripped off, right? People progressively being worried about the care and the actual physical needs of people. But I'll cut to the main cards, which is this is sharing responsibility, sharing and giving. The gorgeous temperance card, great. Balance is possible, and the angel of grace and mercy can step in. If the Hierophant isn't allowed to take priority, this to me is about the repressive laws in Texas and everything else that's represented by the old patriarchal order. So that's sort of clipping the wings a bit of the angel, but I couldn't believe it. My USA Fabulous Star card. So if the Hierophant can be kept in check and only used as it should be used, as a system of law and order that can be relied on, as opposed to used and abused, it can strengthen it or it can tear it down. I think for me, the money card is how people react to this, the Hierophant.
If we can get a separation of church and state.
Exactly. It was literally like that in the middle of those cards, going, keep these worlds separate, if you want to survive and flourish. Yeah.
Did you go, Johnie?
No, but I mean, here's my thing. It says a bunch and it says nothing all at the same time, because nothing is truly set in stone until you set it in stone. So yes, there's a bunch of stuff we need to do, but there's a bunch of stuff we needed to do yesterday. Whether Pluto was in a different house, in the summer house or the winter house. So we got the 2 of Swords and the 10 of Wands. There will be some sort of blocking to oppression. So something oppressive will end. It is the god of the underworld after all. So something is going to die when it comes to oppression with the 10 of Wands. The Sun and the Ace of Pentacles, there will be illumination upon finances, agriculture, climate, anything that involves money, but you're not growing the money from it. The money is put in to make it better. So like farming and infrastructure and things of that nature. There's a lot of illumination upon the injection of money in places to create opportunities. Now, there's a lot of success around it with the Sun card too. So something is being born from those ashes. The 4 of Swords and the Ace of Cups, there will be a lot more isolation. So this may have something to do with COVID. This may have something to do with different strains. Remember, COVID is not the only thing that's out there. There's the monkey flu, there's Ebola, there's Zika virus here in my county. There is still stuff. So there may be some more isolation. There also may be some more isolation because of storms are wrapping up with the World card and the 9 of Swords. So the Earth itself is going to take it's trying to kill us type turn, to where the storms are going to be exacerbated in a lot of places. There's talk of a volcano going off. There's a hurricane on the way, still up the coast, and all of those type of things. Those are going to intensify, because if you go back, nothing else is being addressed when it comes to climate change. Temperance and the Strength, there is going to be more of a spiritualism injected into humans instead of religion. And so it's not, so religion will see, and not trying to knock it or anything, but it will see a decrease in its members, because people are turning more to spiritualism and crystals and rocks and all that type of stuff. You want some more? Was that it? That's that good enough? I have a whole bunch of other stuff, but you go ahead.
Thank you, Estelle.
Did everybody go?
Uh-huh.
I think so. There's a comment here. Pluto has a tendency to tear down in order to rebuild, which is, Johnie, what you were picking up, building from the ashes. Hello. Yes, there you go. And I think that's the lesson for us all in this, America in particular, but the whole world. We can't patch up the political systems we've got everywhere. Patching up is not where it's at. And it almost has to get this bad for us all to act radically at 5 minutes to midnight to save the planet. We can't introduce some carbon emission law for 2045. No, we've blown all that. You know what I mean? Like, we had a chance 30 years ago to do things we didn't. 20 years ago, failed. 10 years ago, not listening. So, you know, it's going to be massively disrupting, but ultimately rebuilding. Yeah.
So I pulled a double line of 5. The top row is, there's a lot there, but I'm reading it more like religious doctrine trying to make its way into law. But it's small, or they're trying to make it something new. This is new law, but before it comes religious doctrine. Women are moving forward with a desire and a plan to rupture all of that, because it's our damn will to not be under a man's thumb. Women are carrying a ridiculous amount of burden, and they want the choices about this. Are we going to be able to tell when we want to mother a child? When we want to, you know, if we have the right to a surgery, but also, this is surgery, but also the tearing down of this bureaucracy, institutions that get cut out because they're not standing on solid foundation. They're small. Do you see what I'm saying? So I get a lot of that. Of course, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. So that's what I get. Women fighting the patriarchy. Crazies trying to make us a theocracy and not a democracy. Tearing apart of our Constitution here. If I read this as the Constitution, cutting it up so that they can have this religious doctrine from the loyalist in the government here, but it's only a small little bit of people. Do you see what I'm saying? So, but it doesn't stand. So it's almost like there's a little bit of trouble there, but ultimately it's like tearing down of institutions, whether that's government, churches, corporations that are exploiting third world countries and resources, you know, for their own gain. It's a tearing down of structure. So that's what I get.
I get a lot of the word that came to me is children leaders, but it just means young people. So 18 and up, there's going to be a lot more of them running for, you know, council seats and these type of things. There's going to be a lot more of young people, and not that they're necessarily repressed, but there is a urgency that this is your planet, this is your country, wherever the country is. This is your country too. So you need to be more involved, or if you want it to change, then you get in and change it.
Yep. Perfect. Right. So last question, and we're going to end on a funny question.
Okay.
This year, on the anniversary, this funny question is coming from Jenny. On the anniversary of our 1-year election from when we elected Joe Biden, will the crazies still be contesting the 2020 elections?
I think we've got to ask. Yeah.
A year into his presidency, or into the election, are they still going to be contesting it?
Well, we could all ring Mr. My Pillow and ask him, you know, finger on the pulse.
Oh, it's Sidney Powell, who's got a $200,000 fine to pay now.
She has a $200,000 fine to pay on top of the billions of dollars that she's being sued for.
Yeah, she's got a fine, and I think it was in Detroit.
Oh, from the ruling of the judge.
It wasn't the one that put her up for trying to take away her law license. It was a different case. She's got like a $200,000 fine now.
Ay.
So I start with the 5 of Cups, Ace of Swords, 2 of Cups. Here is the thing. This may sound out of left field. They're not contesting the election. They are whipping the people into a frenzy. They know they lost. They're fine with they're not fine with the loss, but the loss is whatever. They are indoctrinating these people to make sure that they go out and intimidate people from voting, basically. Yep. What it is. The election thing is the mask. What's underneath the mask is all this other garbage. I got the hate card, which is devolve, which is what they're doing. And then the memories, the flashbacks, the past trauma, the institutions, the anger and irrational behavior, and then the drugs and jealousy and self-hatred and self-destruction. So I got all the cards that would describe this face. So it's like they're not necessarily contesting the election. They're just putting the leash back on their dogs is basically what they're doing.
Oh God, Johnny, I couldn't have said it better. That's just kind of gross though, right? Putting the leash back on the dog.
Yeah, really.
Dog.
Now,
And
mind you, the dog has no legs and it's actually dead, but they still put the leash on. And I think it's actually a cat. So there you go.
Oh, man.
Oh, how funny.
What did you get, Lena?
Oh, okay. I'm using the Toth deck. Yeah.
Oh, the
That
fun
were
one.
created by Crowley, who was a Satanist, so he's perfect for these people. Right, okay, anyway. This card, the Eight of Pentacles in the Toth deck, is called Adjustment. Weird. Don't ask me how his brain works. And I don't normally bother with that. I prattle on about other things, but I think here that's exactly what it's about. They're adjusting to how they're going to go forward. With the use of the Magician, I mean, they're out there boiling those goat's entrails. I mean, I think they're really, really, deeply worried because it is symbolic. Of course it's symbolic, right? So they're going to be gathering their strength around that time, but in a rather desperate way. They'll be looking desperately for each other, how to build a narrative to support going forward after a full year of this crap has dissolved through their fingers. So they're going to have to come up with something. So what did they come up with? They come up. This is the Toth Queen of Swords. Now, the thing about her in this is instead of the normal, calm, reasonable, can you see that figure? She's just lopped the head off the enemy and it is exhausted and lying back with her sword down. It's like they're prepared to do anything. Right.
People are crazy.
I'll just leave that image with you. I mean, that's what the energy of it feels like.
Well,
Crazy.
could that be their voters? Because I mean, if they haven't
cut the head off, you don't need the
Could be
brain part
the
anyway.
voters. I've had it, like I'm just
if they haven't been killed with COVID, they're in jail. So
have you ever seen such a Queen of Swords?
So they're voters, actually not dogs or cats, they're chickens. Cut the head off and let them roam around. Just do what I say do. You don't need a brain.
So I get like, are they, if they're still running that loop in their head and clinging to Trump and everything?
Look at that. Yeah.
They're just going to keep mouthing off about
more of the same.
Stop the steal. But I do get that group might get a little bit smaller. But I also get that somebody who worked on details with these lawsuits in the courts is going to get another fine. So there's going to be more penalties that we're going to start seeing. It's like, keep up with
Because I
the
think
fight,
there
guys.
are court cases on the horizon, aren't there, about states having to pay for all these endless, pointless
That's right,
things.
clogging up our court systems with stupid, frivolous lawsuits.
I get it.
Yeah,
Yes. The result for them are very painful, so they continue to lie and lie and lie because it's part of a script. It's their script here to just lie and lie and lie and lie and lie. Even though you got two eyes and a brain and you can go look it up yourself and realize you're being lied to. No, they eat it up. So get ready for that. So, Jenny, people want to know what your shirt says. Your shirt.
Oh,
I typed it in there. But show them what it says.
it says, that's what I do. I pet cats, I play guitar, and I know things. Because I'm a psychic.
Well, tonight
That's
was
fantastic.
super fun. Thank you so much, Lena, for joining us. It was a lot of fun.
It was a total buzz. Thank you guys for having me
love
on. I
having
loved
you.
it.
We love having you. That was awesome.
No, it is an absolute buzz.
Thank
Thank you all. Thanks, viewers. You guys were great. And Florence says Pluto is the atomic bomb of the zodiac. Thank you for that, Florence.
Yes, he really is. So anybody doing anything coming up this week on anybody's channel? Johnny, Jenny, Lena, anybody?
Nothing major.
Tony is going live at her regular 2:00 Tuesday. And
Who?
Tony, Shining Hawk Healing.
So
She'll
make
be
sure to
live
check out.
2 p.m. on Pacific time.
Yeah, make sure to check that out. Friday, you said, Johnny?
Tuesday.
I am so sorry. Tuesday, Shining Hawk Healing will be with Johnny over at Shining Hawk Healing's channel. Please make sure to check that out. Lena, again, a million thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We hope to have you back again soon if you would like. And
Totally, please invite me.
And our little friend Jenny, I can't point to you, Jen. You're like. So thank you, everybody, and thank you so much for the super chats. And we will see you next time.
And thanks for organizing it, Becca.
On Johnny's channel next week.
Yes.
Wait. No.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.